Hi, everybody. I'm Stephanie Sage. Welcome to the Stephanie Sage Show. I am just totally excited to be kicking off my live show slash podcast. About a year ago, I started thinking about starting a podcast. I've always loved talking to people, interviewing them, and hearing their personal stories and experiences. So finally, April. I got serious about it, and I got connected with Kevin Kwok with J29 Creative Group, and he and his creative team have just been amazing at helping me put this together. They created this awesome intro video and all of my marketing pieces, and they've just done a great job. So thank you, Kevin, and your creative team. It's been so much fun to work with you guys. Basically, my show's purpose is to inspire others to awaken to their higher selves and develop a greater understanding and connection to humanity and the world around them. My intent is to teach, inspire, and build awareness, and to provide my viewers with a positive and spiritually uplifting experience by listening to the stories and life experiences of others. I also plan to have a lot of compelling interviews, a lot of segments about self-improvement and business as well. As you know, I'm a local small business owner. The truth is, I believe that we all have a common bond and we are more alike than we are different. 2020 was a challenging year, to say the least. And I think it's a good idea that we strive for better communication and understanding among us all. And I think we need each other more than ever during these trying times. So if we can come together as a collective unit, we will be that much stronger. There's plenty of negativity in the world, and if I can spread some positivity and create a positive impact on humanity, that's what my show is all about. So I'm really looking forward to, bringing on some intriguing guests. And today, my guest is supposed to be, although she's not here, I'm trying to see if she's logged in, is actually Mischelle Saunders-Gotch. And she is the CEO and founder of Altered Stories Ministry and podcast host of the Altered Stories Show. She's a Christian wife to Mark. Mother to Tawny, Gigi to Bentley Rose. She's dog mom to Bo and Bella. She also is a women's conference speaker, a business leader, and is passionate about helping women share their transformational God stories to help women around the world to heal from sharing them or hearing them. The call in her life to help women share their stories of redemption stems from her experience of emotional healing that resulted when sharing her childhood cult survival story and seeing how telling her story affected those who heard it. She also has a vast corporate background. She's worked for some Fortune 500 companies, done a lot of consulting, and she's a graduate of the Colorado Christian University in Denver, Colorado. I'll tell you, when I interviewed her, I was just truly fascinated because I personally have never met anybody that was involved in a cult. And certainly not as a child, of course. I mean, that was a really, traumatic experience for her. And I hope she gets on the call today. I don't see her on. I've checked emails, but it's really an interesting story. And I love how she has taken her experiences. And, I don't want to speak for her, but I know when I spoke with her, she said that, it took her a long time and her whole family to heal from this experience. But what I love about it is that she has taken a very traumatic experience and turned that into a way to help other women. And that's what it's all about. And that's what my show's about, basically, is all of us coming together to find ways to use our experiences, our wisdom, our knowledge, just whatever we have to give back to help other people. That's definitely what it's all about. And meanwhile, I did a little bit of research here about cults. It says the percentage of people that successfully leave a cult is 90%. And most of them have psychological distress. And when they leave is very substantial. So apparently when you're involved in a cult, and if anybody is watching, please feel free to join in on the chat here if you have any experience with being in a cult, because I certainly have not. But I just was really looking forward to hear her tell her story to you guys today. So I just did a little bit of research about, what happens with, who joins a cult. And it's that a lot of people join when they, don't have a strong spirituality about them, or they lack their own personal identity. And for whatever reason, they feel a need to join a cult, to maybe feel like they're part of a group. And it gives them that identity. I'm just going on assumptions here. And then cult leaders can be very controlling, dominating, and that kind of thing. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go ahead and mute me right now. And I'm going to reach out to Mischelle and see if she's going to be getting on here. So I'm going to go back and just put the basic screen on. And I will be right back with you guys here. Okay, everybody, I got in touch with Michelle, and she has having trouble getting logged on. She's trying to log on from her phone, and I think you're supposed to be on a laptop. So I resent her the link. So hopefully she's going to be getting on here. So I thought maybe while we're waiting on Michelle, we would go over some of the upcoming shows that I have coming up. I have to tell you, I have just been really pleasantly surprised at the amount of people that I have gotten booked to be a guest on my show. I am really thrilled about that. I am actually booked through September, and I'm now booking into October. So if anybody watching has any compelling story or life experiences or just anything that they want to share with viewers that will, increase their awareness, grow their wisdom, help them in some way, whatever, please contact me. You can contact me on my LinkedIn message me through there. You can email me at stephaniejsage@gmail.com. Those are probably the best ways to get in touch with me, because I'm always looking for speakers that have, amazing stories to tell. I just really want to help inspire people. And part of my show too is coming up with, what's your truth? To me, your truth is what's your purpose, what's your true calling in life. And by that, I mean, we all are here. We think our calling, I'm a business owner, or you're a dentist, or you're a doctor, or a teacher, or what have you. But really, what is your true calling? As far as why you're here, what's another purpose where you can use your talents, skills, and abilities to really reach out and touch somebody and help somebody improve their life. So my show's kind of about, hearing other people's truths, and then also exploring your own truth, and obviously learning about the truths of others, and just helping to improve understanding among each other, and how can we better this world. So coming up, last week, my first show was Dr. Susan Harrison, and I just adore her. I've known her for a long time, and she's a coach and a speaker, and she's also actually a confidence coach. So we had a really amazing show about self-confidence. We all struggle with that from time to time. In fact, I was nervous starting my first episode last week, but you just muscle through it, and you do it. So if you missed that episode, unfortunately, we had trouble going live. And so the first part got cut off. But I think about 10, 15 minutes in, we got it going. So you can go and view that on my YouTube page, which is Eyes Wide Shut. And then I also have a YouTube page, Stephanie Sage, and also on my Facebook page. So go back and view that if you want to learn more about self-confidence. And then today, of course, is Mischelle Saunders Gotch, who is a childhood survivor of being in a religious cult. Her mother joined this cult, apparently, and involved her, Mischelle, and that she has some siblings as well. And they just got all caught up in this cult. And I think her dad was in the military and wasn't even really aware, I guess, that the family was in this cult. And long story short, the leader of the cult, I guess, got into trouble publicly, and then that kind of brought things to light to the area that they lived in. And this is when, the mother, I guess, decided she needs to get out of that situation. So hopefully Mischelle will get on here, and you'll be able to hear her amazing story. And then next week, I have this wonderful lady, Sunita Whitelaw, and she is going to talk about self-care. I have just met so many amazing people through this journey of mine. I started interviewing for my show, must be back in probably April, May, and that's kept me pretty busy. But I've just really met a lot of really fascinating people. And the interesting thing that I've found is that I'm not alone. At first, when I thought about the purpose of my show, I thought, what are you doing here, Steph? But the more that I talk to people, there's a growing, I can just see it. There's more and more people that are really trying to reach out and connect people and really help our fellow human beings. And it really warms my heart to know that I'm not alone. And there's other people like Mischelle, or Dr. Susan or Sunita Whitelaw, who's going to be on my show next week, that they really care about doing their part. So it's awesome. And then the last week of August, I have on from a business segment is Valerie Vaughn and Kathy Deegan. I have known those ladies for a long time now. They are just amazing women. Valerie Vaughn is a business broker, so she helps people buy and sell businesses. And then Kathy Deegan, she is a financial advisor, a wealth advisor. And they both just have, fabulous knowledge and experience. And let's see if I've gotten any comments here. And they're going to talk about, exit strategies, because a lot of times when people start a business, they're just really overwhelmed with getting that business going. I mean, you're on, just worried about even getting a revenue coming in the door and running your business. And the last thing you're usually thinking of is exiting your business, except maybe on the bad days when you're like, what am I doing? But no, seriously, that's something that you really need to be thinking in the very beginning, because it matters. They're going to explain why does that matter. How do you chart that course through the growth of your business and be prepared to exit down the road and have those plans in place. So they're going to be discussing that. Let's see. And then in September, September is going to be a really great month too. On September 2nd, I have Kelly Bailiff coming on. I adore this lady. She's actually been on I think it's Channel 4, one of the local news stations, and she works with missing and exploited children. I first met her at an ABWA meeting about a year ago. I was on the programming chair, and somebody suggested we bring her on to be a speaker. And I was so impressed with her. And I so love her story about one of her cases where they discovered a child hidden up in an attic and rescued this child. But Kelly just does amazing things with helping missing and exploited children. And so we're going to be discussing that. She actually no longer works for I think she was with the Wyandotte County Sheriff's Office, but she has since retired. In fact, I had lunch with her, I don't know, probably 6 months ago, and she's busy traveling and enjoying retirement, but she still works tirelessly with, actually she works with the FBI right now, I believe, and still is involved with helping missing and exploited children. And we're also going to touch on a pretty serious topic of, human trafficking and that of children. So I'm, looking forward to learning more information on that. I just don't know why that's not at the top of the newsreel, that if we have, hundreds of thousands of missing children across this country, why are we not hearing more about that? That kind of concerns me a little bit, but I will let Kelly touch on that. And then the next September 9th, I have Jennifer Kwok coming on. She is the wife of Kevin Kwok, who has helped me create my podcast and did all the marketing for it. They work together with their marketing company. And she, I actually heard her on one of their podcasts that they have. And I was intrigued with her topic of, what is your first childhood memories? And it got me thinking back to one of my first memories. And then you think to yourself, why is that one of my first memories? So we're going to explore that a little more. So, and some other topics as well. She's really warm and funny. And I know you'll really enjoy hearing her. And then the following week, I have Keith Griffin coming on. He used to be in the military. And he's done a lot of, he's a tech guy, but he also has done like security type stuff. And he's just got a wealth of information. So I am so looking forward to talking with him. I met him on LinkedIn. I'm going to see if Mischelle has. Okay, so she's just saying she's unable to log in. So she probably doesn't have her laptop. Oh, she's trying to get on now. using Google Chrome. She's getting the same error. Well, that stinks. I don't know what to do. Maybe Kevin can help me here. I don't know if Kevin's watching or not. Let's see. I don't know. Let's see. I'm going to text him. Okay, I'll see if he responds. Anyway, I'll just keep, chatting on here as I'm burning up. Let's see. Okay, then on September 23rd, I have Dr. Mischelle Robin. And I would say if you don't know her, I don't know how you could not know this lady because she is so involved in the community. She owns Your Wellness Connection. She's a chiropractor and she's got amazing resources of different types of healing doctors around her and massage therapists, and she helps so many people with their wellness. She's an author, speaker, just a marvelous lady, and her saying is be good to people. And that, I think about that a lot. Just be good to people, treat people well, and that's what we should be doing in this world. So I am really looking forward to having her on. Just a marvelous lady. And then September 30th, I actually am going to be on vacation in Florida. So I'm totally excited for that. So I'm probably just going to rerun a previous episode instead of trying to do this from long distance. So Kevin's saying, send the link so he can test it. So I'm going to send the link to Kevin's. Let's see here. All right. I'm going to blank myself out and put the screen back on. I'll be back. Okay, we got Mischelle on. Success. Yeah. Woo. For some reason, I had to resend her a link from the live broadcast. So I don't know. I'm still learning all of this, folks. And luckily, I have a really good sense of humor and I just roll with things. So it's all good. I'm going to bring Mischelle on. Let me see. Let me get this right. There she is. Okay. Hope she pops on the screen there. Hold on one sec. I don't know what's going on. Remove me. So Mischelle, do you have your camera on? I can see you, but you're not coming up. Oh, now you disappeared again. Well, let's see if she pops back on. So I'm going to go ahead and finish out my guest. Like I said, September 30th, I will not have a show. I'm going to be in Florida on vacation. And then on October 5th, I have Keith Custer. And then on October 7th, I have Kelly Bailiff on once again. And we're going to be talking about her Heroes and Helpers, which is a program that she does for children who have been affected by, the court system or, the jail system, what have you. And what she does is she collects Target gift cards. And then she takes these kids shopping, Christmas shopping. And for the last several years, Sage has donated, several $100s in gift cards for these children. And we intend to continue giving more and more every year to help Kelly out with her program. So hopefully you all, whoever's listening, will jump on and check that out. And October 14th, I have Teresa McGarry, and she had a calling to do a ministry to help people who have been in the jail and prison system and help them get their lives in order with teaching them financial basics. And she's just a fabulous lady. I've really gotten to know her quite well over the last few weeks. And I'm going to be going on her podcast, and we're going to be working on doing some videos together. So that's going to be really fun. And then October 21st, let's see, I'm not going to have a show because I'm going to be out of town again. And then October 28th, I am going to be on Teresa's podcast. And I'm not sure. I still have an opening for October 28th. So I'm getting booked. So I'm really excited. I'm going to pop back into my email here and see if she's emailed me. Oh, there she is. Hopefully I can bring her on here. We are determined ladies. We're going to make this happen.
We are.
Yay!
Yes, yay! Woo! This is crazy.
I'm so sorry. I texted Kevin and because I said, so is there two links? You have the link when I set up the show that I sent you, and then a different link when I go live. So I had no idea. Surprise. So I guess if that happens again, anyway, now I know, right? So, well,
yeah.
Gosh, dang. All right. Luckily, I'm a gal. I fly by the seat of my pants anyway. Like, that's just how I roll. So, which is good in these situations. Yeah.
Yes,
I'm freaking out. I'm a little flush, as you can see, but trying to stay calm.
It's okay. You're doing great. I'm just trying to get it so we can see well. Yeah. It's kind of dark. I apologize. I'm trying to get my camera to work well.
Yeah. Well, the main thing is you're on and you're here. And I've been kind of given little tidbits about what I remember of your story from when we talked, but I'm going to obviously just turn that over to you and let you take it from here because it's a fascinating story. So.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, Stephanie, for this opportunity. And, we all have a story. We all have a story. And I'm a big proponent of people sharing their stories, whether they share them with their friends, their family, publicly, however, through storytelling as an author, those things. But my story started when I was younger. I have a background having come out of a cult, a childhood cult survivor story. And it seems like it was years and years and years ago, but truly it's who I am. It's how I have survived it and how it propelled me to be what I am today in the work that I'm doing. So I'm not sure what all you shared with your audience.
Not very much. I didn't want to tell your story, but I was just trying to, keep dialogue going a little bit and just the background. So
well, I've actually shared my story out publicly. It took me a long time to do it, and I had to get up the courage to do it because there's a lot there, and it affects others, of course. So you have to be very careful when you make those decisions to go public, because not everybody's going to accept your story or receive it. They're going to have a lot of questions about what you're sharing too, especially when it comes to mine. But I grew up in a military family. Both my parents were in the Air Force. And when I was around the age of 7, I, through my mom's decision-making, started attending a non-traditional church. It really was more like a home church. And I, of course, was expected to, obey my parents and do those things that you need to do. And my mom exposed me and my brother and sister to her faith. She was very, really big on her faith because she, this was something that she felt was really important in her life to share and surround her kids with. So my mom became friends with a dear family, and they were connected to this founder of this cult. The cult was called the Ecclesia Group. That's a general term. A lot of people talk about that. But this particular founder, who was thrown out of the more traditional church denominations, started this cult, is what I'm going to call it, and others have called it, in the basement of his home. And so we all met collectively, and I was part of this group of professed Christians that were, part of this cult. So my dad was very open about allowing my mom to choose where she wanted to, I guess, experience her faith more. And he was not really involved. My mom really kind of said, okay, I'm going to start taking you kids here. And it turned out very, wonderful at first, very innocently. We were all, in a home church, essentially. And unfortunately, what happened from there was as we became more involved and more people were under the influence of this man, it became more oppressive. It became more controlling. It became more manipulative in terms of, what was occurring. Now, you can say I was 7. From the age of 7 up until the age of 12, I was part of this group. And I had a lot of different perspectives as a 7-year-old versus how you are, as you get older. So there's a lot to the story. It's difficult to share it
Mm-hmm.
in a 20-minute timeline or whatever,
Yeah.
but I'm going to do my best to share it at a very high level so people can understand. The purpose of why I'm doing this is because I want people to understand the healing power of the story and
Mm-hmm.
telling the story and why it brought me to doing what I'm doing it with my nonprofit and helping other women share their stories. But I was exposed to a lot of different controls in this group. There was decisions made that were, you can't wear makeup, your hair has to be a certain way. There's a lot of, you can't watch TV, you can't celebrate holidays. There was, a lot of legalism is what I'm going to say. And it really did make it difficult to try to exist in the world I was existing, in the age group I was existing, as a growing child versus, in a normal sense of going to school and then being part of this group. So there was a lot of that kind of challenge that I had to go through in trying to, through those years, needing to have the acceptance, because we relocated, to follow this leader a couple of times. And it wasn't until he was exposed by the media. There was several people who had left and departed, went to the media, and he was exposed. He was exposed through, other areas too, but the media got a hold of it. And that is when I think the awareness of all this started happening. And my dad had to come home from being deployed in Germany to where we were living. My brother was acting out. I was acting out because there were other things involved besides, the control, the manipulation, can't do this, can't do that, can't do, this. Seeing people, the mental health issues that were coming, because a lot of the people coming in some of these people were just not all there, So, and he was very much a tyrant as he got more controls. And I saw a lot of things with how other people allowed him to take control in their families. And, it's just a whole different world of existence. And I had to learn to, exist in two worlds. So, but anyway, I thankfully was able to get out from underneath that control, that way of living, when it was exposed, and my mom made a choice to have to break free. And we never really collectively as a family sat down and worked through it, but we did talk about it. And there were, my dad put some particular boundaries around it. My mom agreed to those boundaries, and then our family tried to immerse ourselves going forward. But unfortunately, my parents lost custody of my brother, who was acting out. So that, they're fortunate they didn't lose custody of all of us kids.
Yeah.
And in today's day and age, it would be very, very different. So anyway, that cult and all of what transpired, I had to reflect back and understand where some of my depression, anxiety, my anger, a lot of emotions, I had to sit down and do the work that was necessary to be able to propel myself forward. And I found that through the art of storytelling, when I started to tell people, it's like, when people are going through things, they have to talk about what they're going through. But when I started, after my mom, made the decision to leave and we all started healing, it took time. It wasn't like an immediate,
Yeah.
she still had a lot of I would consider brainwashed. Some of those things still in her thinking and her mindset and all of that. And so I still had to, learn to deal with some of that. And it took time, but I had a tremendous amount of anger. So
yeah. Can I ask you a quick question? So, like your mother, so she kind of quit thinking, like if you're that brainwashed, you probably quit. You depend on somebody telling you what to do. So, right. So was it hard for her to kind of like think on her own and make decisions then? Or was that kind of part of what she was dealing with? No. I mean, you say she was still kind of caught up in that. I'm just trying to.
Well, it's hard to explain, but my mom could still think and she could still exist, but her belief system, her worldview was twisted. Okay. So her worldview was twisted. And I think it took time for her to make admission. First, she had to hold herself accountable and say, okay, I really did this. This is what I did. And seeing the error in what it was that she was doing. She was extremely naive. She grew up in a large Catholic family. She, she grew up as a Catholic. I mean, she had brothers and sisters. She didn't have too much trauma growing up. Yes, she had some things that occurred that she probably never got. The point of this is that people have to heal. People need to go through the healing process. And one of the best ways to do that is to be able to go forward by telling your story. You want to be careful how you tell your story. You want to be careful where you tell your story. You have to have a safe place to tell your story, because I'm public now. I've been out there. I've shared my story. I even have it on my own podcast. It's not as difficult. It is difficult to share every single time, because you go, oh my gosh, I really came out of this. This is really what happened in my family. However, when you take the time and you work through it, you get much stronger. And my mom did not have the mental strength. I think there was some challenges in her mental area. I wouldn't say that she was extremely, mentally ill or anything like that. I just think she had a very different way of thinking in terms of what she would consider being, godly would be, or, in how she felt you needed to serve God in her faith. And so anyway, I'm telling you a lot more than what you asked, but, I wanted you to be aware. Yeah, there's just, this is been a journey, but I will tell you that with what I came out of, my mom, my dad, to this day, thankfully, my mom passed. Her and I talked. She went through, in my opinion, as much as she could go through with making admission of, that she got really brainwashed. She was very naive. She made some poor choices. She knew I was starting Altered Stories Ministry. She knew that at one point I was going to go public with my story. I don't want other people, when you're a child, you can only do so much.
We had your parents guide you. I mean, especially in religion,
Yeah, there's not so much that there's just not a lot that you can do,
right?
Other than try to find ways to deal with what you're going through and the oppression. And, I, of course, being very positive, very driven person, very achieving person, I was very fortunate and blessed to be able to find favor with people in my school. And, I was able to make friends. But I also learned how to be one way and how to be another way to be able to exist. And so there's ways, that people sometimes, I've there's a lot of mental health words, they call it, but it was trauma I went through. there was mental, abuse I went through. There was, sexual abuse that occurred. I just, it occurred during that time too. And I had to undergo stress management counseling. I had to really do a lot of work to be able to get myself to a good place, be able to propel myself and move forward in doing the work that, I was doing in corporate America as a leader and a manager, and then also doing what I was doing, in my personal life, and, being able to hold healthy relationships and all those things. And that's, really the story is overcoming. It's, overcoming. And when I started sharing my story privately and talking about it, I found that it made a big difference. It also helped the women and others that I told my story to. And, I think there was some inspiration that came out of it for others, and continues to, as people go, oh my goodness. I mean, I'm not alone. We all go through difficult things, and I just am using my story to be able to help those that want to share their story and need to share their story of how they've overcome things, different situations, different experiences, So
do you think you give these women strength to do that then? Because they may be afraid to speak out. And so seeing you do this gives them the confidence to do that they too can do what you do.
Yes, I think that was the primary reason why I made the decision to go public with my story. I got a lot of,
Are you okay?
Yes, I am. It's my surface. So I apologize. Right. Yeah, no, it's okay. So we're doing this. No, we're fine. It's my surface of health.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I think that's what, I can't do what I'm doing if I can't be an instrument or an example of someone who has made that decision. And I have to let people know that, telling this story, your story is so critical to helping others and being authentic. And yes, there's all types of questions people have, where did this take place? How, so like when you went to never get, was there ever any accountability and things like that? So,
but then like when you were involved in the cult, so were you guys not allowed to you could only hang out with the other children in the cult? Like you couldn't make friends outside of that. And so then you go to school and then you have to make friends because you can't hang out with your other friends. So that would be really difficult.
It was really difficult because I'm a social person and I love people, and I always have loved people. And so the isolation, the control, I'm not a person that likes controls.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I'm a very independent person. And, I don't like to see abuse. I saw abuse. I saw him abusing other people. I saw him ridiculing people publicly. I saw him abusing women, and men. And, I'm a person that really doesn't do well with that when I see that. I stood up against this man when I saw him do what he did to my baby sister.
Wow.
And it was terrible. I'm a fighter. I'm an overcomer. And I have mental strength by God's grace. I've got mental strength, optimism. And I'm a person that just pushes through barriers like no tomorrow because I'm determined. I'm determined to not let that get me down, especially if it's something that's not right.
Yeah. I think that's a special gift because I've come to learn I'm not like you in that I'm mentally tough. I can overcome adversity. That's just, and I thank God every day that I was blessed with those skills because I do see throughout my life and what you're talking about, there's a lot of people that simply don't have those skills and they don't have that courage to fight back and speak up. And because not everybody is blessed with that. So that it's a true blessing that you had that because where would you might be today? Like, how did it affect your siblings compared to you? Have they been as successful at healing from this, or, you know?
Yeah, my older brother's extremely successful. He did amazing. He's incredible. He's a gifted person, and he did really well in his life, in his career and everything. But I don't know how he's healed through that. I mean, some people deal with these things differently. Some people are like, I'm not going to bring this up. I'm moving forward, and I'm not going to bring it up and just go on with your life. Well, for a long time, I did do that. I'm like, okay, it's done. It's over. I want to keep going. I want to forget about it. I don't want to deal with it. But at some point, the issues keep coming up. They keep coming up, and if you don't take the time to work through it and understand, like, I didn't recognize what I had come through, and the trauma that I had come through was considered sexual abuse. I mean, I didn't take the time to really process that. And when, so I had to go through all of the hard work that it takes to heal, and the healing journey. And part of that healing journey is not just doing, the counselor, it's other things, right? You got to get out. I was speaking in women's groups and sharing in women's groups and sharing, on podcasts where I've been sharing my story, and I'm writing my book and all those things, because I just think it inspires others who are going through other trauma, other hard things too. And there are a lot of people who've come through spiritual abuse like me, and pastoral abuse. And there are a lot of people out there that aren't doing good things.
There's a lot of people out there not doing good things. It's scary.
I mean, right now.
And they're supposed to be good leaders that you trust. That's what's really scary. That's what I've learned in my research over this past year, is that there's a lot of bad people in this world, and pretending to be good people. It's kind of scary.
Yes, it is. And so that was the other thing. At first, I was going to write a book called Deceived. But, my mom, I just think there's a culmination of issues. My mom, she came from a large Catholic family. She probably didn't have the best self-esteem. She was looking for community. She met the group. My dad was in the military. They moved all over. She was looking for a place to call family, home. She met people. Right. They seemed wonderful, and they were affiliated with someone that on the surface seemed wonderful, a leader, but they were very naive. I would say a lot of the people were very naive in what they were exposing and getting themselves into in their families. So
these cult leaders, okay, so, I always have to question, like, why do people do what they do? So this person obviously got kind of kicked out of the original religion because just the way he thought. So what do you think his agenda was? Did he just want to control people? Was he looking for a little community where he's like the father figure, the leader? Or why do cult leaders do what they do?
Well, I think they're mentally unstable, for one thing, and they're control freaks. And I think the other thing is he really truly believed in, a non-traditional way of serving the Lord, and, bringing people together in a community. And, I just think he was off base. He was really off base. And, he was trying to, I guess, push his agenda together forward. And he felt his agenda was the right agenda. I mean, when you evaluate like Jim Jones and, some of these other cult leaders.
The Waco one.
The Waco guy. Yeah. I mean, they seem to be narcissistic, or, I mean, I don't know. I just know he was creepy. Oh, in my opinion, he was really creepy. He was like a lot older man with a younger wife and a stepson. And I just found him to be creepy. Me personally, I tried not to find favor with this man.
Well, your intuition was telling you, your higher self was saying, don't trust this person. I'm a very intuitive person. Like, I just go by my gut. Like, I'm sure your gut just said, this is not right. This is not good. Even though you were just 7. I mean,
it didn't get so bad until when I was probably 9, 10, 11. I mean, that's when it was getting sickening.
Yeah.
When you started seeing kids turning against their parents and, everybody wanting to be in favor with this man. And, I'm kind of a rebel. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm kind of a rebel. And so it's good that I had that fighting spirit and that mental strength and those things. But, I learned how to play the game. Mm-hmm. I was going to be one way at home and I was going to be one way at school and I was going to make it either way.
Right.
And, but I will tell you, I had to deal with anger. Oh, because I really, really, really did not like my mom. Mm-hmm. And, I physically tried to beat her up. I'm not kidding. I just had so much anger against my mom for exposing me and putting me in those situations, and a lot of anger towards him. I mean, the reality is, we didn't keep in contact. Mm-hmm. So I know this man passed away in 1997 at the age of 87. Okay. But when we left. Mm-hmm. And I did everything I could to try to heal and move forward as best as I could. But my mom did not do that easily. It took her a while. So there was just a lot of anger.
Yeah. Well, there's a lady I follow on Facebook, and she talks a lot about, your truth, how everything, your perception of things, and then about how we let traumas control us because we don't deal with the traumas. We sweep them under the rug. Oh, I'm done. I'm moving on. But she says it's best to just feel that feeling. Allow yourself just to feel it, acknowledge it, come to terms with it. It happened. You can't change that. But then let it go. But you have to go through that. That's what she says. And is that similar maybe to what you did? Like you have, because a lot of people just push it away, but the truth always comes back, right? If you don't deal with it, right. So, I mean, is that kind of how you dealt with it?
Well, for me, I downplayed it for a long time and just didn't deal with the issues that really were there as a result of seeing what I saw, being exposed to what I was exposed to, the trauma piece. I mean, and it's trauma. Yeah. And so, I mean, we all have trauma, and it was very traumatic because the age primarily. Yeah. And then seeing some of the things, and then the chaos in our family, and then seeing my brother, what transpired with him, and then my baby sister, and seeing my parents and trying for them to heal and to move forward. And then there was anger, my dad's side, and all of those things that had, and we never really, as a family, collectively got any kind of, in my opinion, what I would consider healthy
resolution.
I had to do that later, because I started saying, oh my goodness, I couldn't, I was really, really sensitive to any kind of control. I didn't like Christians. I wanted nothing to do with them. I couldn't stand weak people. And, anything that would remind me of it, I ran. And so
why scared you? You're like, because you didn't trust religion anymore.
Me. Oh, everything. I didn't trust God. Yeah. and I didn't, he had my back and everything. And then I learned all these things about God. God creates us. We're made in his image. And we all, in my opinion, have the right and the freedom and the free will to do things and make choices. But sometimes our choices are evil, and sometimes we unfortunately get subjected to people that are evil, and these things happen. I'm not alone. Many, many people have been through these things, this type of thing, and others. And you just have to, you know, that's where you can minimalize it and say, okay, well, I'm not alone. Go on, move on, you know, put it under the bridge. You know, nobody cares about that. But when you don't heal, you then do what my mom did. Understand, if you're not healing, then you subject others around you to not being healed.
So how does that work? So she didn't heal. So how did that, I guess, affect her and her life and those around her? I mean, it's like versus if she had healed, how would that?
Well, I just think if she would have healed, she would have made healthier choices. You know, and her esteem. I mean, she withdrew. She withdrew. She wouldn't go out socially. She, you know, her self-esteem, you know, all of that was affected. She carried shame. She carried guilt. You know, it affected her marriage. It affected her marriage, you know, all those things. And that's
so she just really was never happy again. So she never really achieved happiness. And that's really sad. That's very sad.
Not okay. Yeah, she had bits and pieces of it, but I don't think she had the peace. You know, I mean, there was some reconciliation that she had to do, and there was admission. But I do think it carried itself. So what I'm saying,
it's a heavy weight to carry a lot of years.
It did. And then of course her and I did. Sorry, this isn't me and my crazy surface that keeps pushing back. It doesn't hold it up. I apologize.
No worries.
This is like terrible. Sorry, Stephanie.
No. I'm just glad you're here.
No. But anyway, I'm hoping people can understand my heart and where I'm coming from here, because I really do believe everyone should go through the process if they've had trauma or mental health issues, and recognize them. Don't downplay them, because it affects how you deal with others. It affects, decisions you make. It affects your relationships. There's just a lot involved in it.
So when you say go through the healing process, is there some steps that you think you went through that you recommend people go through to get rid of any trauma that they're dealing with from childhood or adolescence or even adulthood for that matter? What is your process?
Well, my process is, of course, first and foremost now, because I'm a faith-based person, I put it to prayer, in my faith, and letting, God through my relationship work in how he speaks and works through others. Okay. And getting direction. But it's also making sure that you're getting and enlisting the counseling that you need from people that love you and trust. You trust deeply, and making sure that, you're taking care of yourself and you do self-care. But you've got to first make admission that you've gone through what you've gone through, and it is affecting you. You've got to make admission. You've got, I had those anger issues. I had control issues. I had trust issues. I had, couldn't get close to people. It was affecting my relationship with my mom. And, I really, really had a lot of anger. So you've got to reach out and get the help that you need in the areas that you need through your support system.
Well, that lady I was talking about that I follow, she says, counseling can be good, but then she says people tend to just keep like reliving something, rehashing it over and over and over in their minds. And that isn't really healthy, because all you're doing is recycling that bad trauma, creating more trauma, because you're not really acknowledging it, dealing with it, like all the things that you're talking about. Do you see the difference? Is what she's saying is people just, why did that happen to me? I just don't understand, and they just keep questioning instead of just saying, no, that did happen to me. And then I'm angry about it, I'm sad about it, or whatever, and process that. And I don't know why people don't take time to do that. It's just, but there seems to be a difference between just reliving it, rehashing it versus resolving it.
Yeah. And no, it makes sense completely. And I do think that's what I did for a long, long time. And it was affecting a lot, and including even my mental health, and that's the thing, we have so much in our culture today. We are so blessed by so many options for mental health right now. And right now, mental health is a big stigma. I mean, we've come out of a pandemic, right? And, people are still dealing with all of the effects and the impact. And that's traumatizing. I don't care what anybody says. This pandemic has been very traumatizing.
Oh, yeah. And there's a lot of people living off of fear, too. And they're letting fear control their emotions. Because when you let fear overcome you, you don't think logically like you should sometimes. And I think you let your emotions get carried away, which creates this trauma. And then all of a sudden they're living in this fear of the virus and fear of getting sick. And instead of just saying, you know what, if I just stay healthy, keep my immune system strong, wash my hands, I see that, like, people are just let fear.
Yes.
And I'm a person, I don't run on fear. That's just not my personality. I try to, but some people, they do. And I see that it's been becoming, this pandemic has affected people greatly. There's increased suicides, alcohol, drug addiction, spousal abuse, probably child abuse for that matter. I mean, it's just financial stress. I mean, we can just go on and on. It's been very, very hard on people. And that's part of the reason I wanted to start my show, because I feel like we need more people. I want to bring on people like you that tell, stories to inspire people and give hope.
I try.
I try.
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. And I have 60 episodes that I put out on my podcast and the Altered Story Show of women who've come through hard things and have come out on the positive side. That doesn't mean that they don't have setbacks. And that doesn't mean I don't have setbacks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's one of those things. But if I can make a difference, and others look at our Olympians, many of those women on the gymnastics team came forward. They were abused. They were
big time
sexually abused. And, and you've heard of recent with what's being reported for those that listen to the news. Some people I don't know what to listen to. You know what I mean?
Well,
but it is
scary times.
More. Yeah.
Well, that's part of my show too, about truth. I feel like, I kind of quit watching a lot of news a long time ago, because I just feel like instinctually that, we're all kind of right now going, what is really going on? What is the truth? And that really starts with you, yourself, me, you. What is your truth? What is your story? Like when I talk truth, I'm thinking more than just your perception of your life or whatever. It's more like, what is your calling? What can you bring forth to help other people and help yourself, and then help other people, and then listening to other people's truths. Because I think, with all this social media, we're the news now, right? Because we can do this and we can speak out, and we're the masses, that we live in the daily grind, and more than ever, I feel like we need to be speaking out as a collective and helping humanity. Like we're doing here.
It takes courage. It takes an extreme amount of courage to speak out. But you have to think through the impact of what you're sharing.
Yeah.
And that's where it is. It's like, okay, well, I know my truth. I know my story. I have, shared it numerous times. It has inspired. It has helped me. It has helped others. It's brought awareness.
Exactly.
And I just don't want others not to heal.
Right.
I didn't have a choice. I didn't have a choice. I had to exist as best as I could for those years, but my mom chose to be part of the cult. My dad, he was not involved like he should have been. There were other things distracting. And bottom line is, it coulda, shoulda, woulda, and I could have, but I am not, I am who I am today. Because,
exactly.
the healing and the people that God sent to me and all those things. I want people to understand that you can get through these things. And you don't have to live with them. You don't have to live in that heaviness and that burden. Today, I feel like a brand new person. When I started healing, every single day I get up and I'm like, this is freedom. I'm so big on freedom.
And me too. I love that word.
I can live my life, now, and I can make a difference and I can walk, it was so oppressing for so long in those years. That I have such an appreciation for being free and what freedom really means.
Right. Freedom is everything, that you can free to be yourself, free to live how you want to live, free to believe your truth, what's important to you, how you want to live your life. To me, that's freedom, and that you can think, you be free, a free thinker. I'm a free thinker. That's really big for me. I like to, I just like to, I think outside the box. That's just me. But more importantly, so hopefully maybe even your story can make people aware. Are they maybe getting involved in something that potentially could be a cult, or maybe a relationship that isn't so good for them? Like that person is very controlling. So hopefully too, not only you are helping women or other people heal, but hopefully you'll keep them from getting into a situation like this where they can see the flags. So I have a question. What is the difference? Like, how would you know, like, I'm going to join this home church group. How can you see the difference between an innocent small church group versus something that is a cult or potentially could be a cult?
Yeah, that's a really, really good questions. And, I just think you have to do the discernment and analysis around the people that you're involved with. And you got to look at what are they reading? What are they studying? What is their background? How, what truth are they living? Why are they not in an accountability? They got to have some kind of accountability. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Big time.
Those you got to have that around those that,
or somebody that's just too controlling.
Yes, exactly. That's another one that you can, I've been in a relationship too with, unfortunately, a very controlling person. And that those red flags, it's all charming, it's all wonderful. And then, all of a sudden, they don't want you doing this. They're jealous of that. I mean, those are just things. People that are mentally healthy are walking in the freedoms, and they don't control and impose things on people that way. Right. They look out for people in a different way. Yeah. And, I would just say, be aware of who you subject yourself to and what you read, and, have sound mind. And, my accountability is, I'm a faith person. So my accountability is I discern things and I read things with people that I have credibility and the Bible and things like that. And my husband is very, very discerning kind of person, and he knows his truth, and I trust his it's the thinking and the mental strength and all those things too with people.
Yeah, because I think when you're firm in your convictions and who you are and how you want to live your life, that your eyes are a little more open to seeing people that are too controlling, where when you're mentally confident in who you are, and then also you don't take in other people's projections onto you so easily. Does that make sense? Where let's say somebody is mad about, I don't even know, something you did, you didn't even mean to do it, and they're just attacking you or trying to pressure you. And if you have that confidence, you can say, you know what, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that, or this is what I believe, and you have a right to be you, but you stand your ground. I guess you have to stand firm in that.
You do. Well, you have to know how to set boundaries too.
Yeah, set boundaries. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's part of what you learn and people have to learn. I just want people to be as healthy as they can. And I don't want them to walk in fear and shame and guilt and all those things because of what they've had to endure or what they've come through. God is a loving God. He loves us. He's got our back. He's got a purpose and a plan for people.
And more importantly, he forgives you, and you got to forgive yourself.
Yes.
Right?
That's a hard one. That is a hard one, Stephanie. So, but I also know that you can't carry your stuff around. And
no, it's a heavy load. Think about if you carried everything that happened to you in your life, you'd be all hunched over like, oh, I can't do it.
Yes. You have. I mean, you can tell people that walk in freedom. They're happy. Their eyes, they walk. It's the way, the way they carry themselves, all those things. I mean, you can see me. I move my hands. I'm talking. I'm so excited. I love what I'm doing. I'm so grateful and walk with gratitude, all those things. And I am so incredibly grateful that I got out of that. My mom got out of that.
Yes.
We were able to heal from it. But I think because my mom had some mental health issues that probably did not get healed, she subjected us to those issues. Yeah. And she was making choices and drawn to things. And that's what I'm saying. People get healed, work through it, because you're affecting your kids. Yeah. You're affecting your marriage. You're affecting other things in your life. There's such a plan for you.
Yes. I know
God has such a plan for you.
Yeah, no. So you gotta have your faith, and everybody may have a different faith, God, the source, the universe, whatever, but the thing is having that higher power, is there for you and guiding you, especially during tough times. I know people ask, how'd you make it through? Like, running a business. And I'm like, well, I've saved my prayers along the way too. Because, it's just, sometimes you just can't go it alone, and you need that extra faith to get you through whatever challenge or life lesson that you have to learn, or life is not most of us don't have this little clean slate, and even if we did, it'd probably be a little boring. If we're all honest with ourselves, and we wouldn't build the character and learn the lessons and be wiser for it either too, and to help others through your experiences.
Well, and the thing is, when I was going through the stress management counseling, this woman was phenomenal. And I know you've got a timeline here. But we worked together on the blessings. What we did was we did a lot of evaluation of the blessings of different things that I went through and seeing it from that standpoint. And that makes a huge difference too, is depending on your trauma, depending on what you've encountered, what you've been through, and how you can take that and propel forward. So, just encouraging people in your audience or those that are listening. And thanks for being patient with me, everybody, and trying to get on and this technology. And, I hope my lighting is okay. And
I know. Well, last week my thing wouldn't go live. And so, my first 15 minutes got cut off, but I just thought, what the heck? And I kind of beat myself up, but I thought, move on. It's life isn't perfect, and that's part of being on live shows, and it is what it is, and I learned from it. And then we had trouble getting you on, so I had another lesson that, gosh, if that happens again, I can go down and get the link right off my live feed here. So but I appreciate you
going live is hard,
getting back on.
I admire what you're doing. Going live,
because I was kind of like, oh gosh, what am I going to talk about?
Did you do good? I think it's great. You probably figured out all those things.
Yeah, well, I tried to go over my upcoming guests, and I'm booked, and thank God for that. But thank you so much for staying in there and being a trooper and coming on to share your story about healing. And hopefully we'll have people that will watch this and check out your ministry. So it's Altered Stories
Ministry. Yeah. Okay. And my podcast, because we have a podcast that pushes our brand, is Altered Stories Show.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to get on there. Well, I kind of glanced through it. I was actually getting on your website to try to find your phone number. I thought I was to call her. But then I saw all the podcasts, and I kind of got on there for a while going, oh, those look really interesting. So I need to check some of those out.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. This is a blessing. Thank you, Stephanie. I
Yes.
really appreciate all the great work you're doing, what you're doing.
Well, I appreciate what you're doing. You're helping tons of people, sharing your story. And I really enjoyed getting to know you. So thank you again so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.